A wife of a lap dance loving NYPD lieutenant lashes out in wake of a very raunchy video with his rookie. Now, the reason why we're covering this is because marriage is one of the biggest decisions, one of the biggest financial decisions that anyone could ever make in their life. And if you end up basically getting into a marriage with someone and maybe you guys no longer are attracted to one another, maybe one of you doesn't necessarily put into like any effort in their appearance, what they do, all that kind of stuff, one person might end up straying or doing something very questionable like the video that we're going to check out. Now, here's the thing. I'm not putting any blame on this guy's wife, right? Because he, right, should know better than to be getting a lap dance from your underling while you are married. Okay? There's a lot of questionable things going on. And also, that being said, it doesn't help the fact that your underling happens to be more attractive than your wife. It doesn't really look good, right? And again, the reason why we're discussing this, and again, we are going to check out this video, is that marriage can be something that can literally break your finances 100%, right? You could literally have half your things taken from you. You could probably even lose everything depending on how good the other person's lawyer is. So you gotta be very careful. So let's check out this video. Let's see. No sound. Okay, let's do that. So yeah, the rookie is definitely putting in a lot of work for this lap dance. Yeah. And that guy, see, the boss is having way too much fun with this as well. Because here's the thing, right? Because you gotta think about it. They're doing this in front of people, right? Like, they're doing this with a whole bunch of other people around. Like, this is. It doesn't really look good on them, right? So the furious wife of the NYPD lieutenant, caught on video getting a raunchy lap dance from his underling, went berserk on a reporter Monday as the rookie cop's father blasted the married boss, saying he should know better. By the way, keep in mind, this is NYPD. While they are also one of the most strict ones in terms of COVID restrictions, so just keep that in mind, right? In the video, if you're listening to this, no masks. Probably no one got checked. Probably no one even got checked for the Vax card, even though that's being trying to like mandated in that New York City area. So it's just kind of funny to see the lack of enforcement from this extremely woke side of New York, and yet the people who end up typically enforcing this stuff, punishing normal everyday people and business owners, end up basically not really abiding to anything. It's just kind of funny. So, a red faced Lieutenant Nick McGarry had to hold back his fuming wife outside their new Windsor home when asked about the post's front page story featuring a screenshot of the not safe for work video of the rookie cop grinding in McGarry's lap. And I gotta say, right, it doesn't really leave much to the imagination as to what would something be like if they were to do something, right? And the thing is, I would not be surprised if this lieutenant probably did something with his underling, right? That would not be surprising at all. And if that's the case, that guy could probably get divorced very quickly and end up basically losing everything. Like literally everything that he has. So, the fork you, right? The wife sees after charging at a post reporter and photographer. Obviously, she said the actual thing, right? She was restrained by her hubby, who told her it's not worth it. Get back in the car. As she continued to spit obscenities. There are other things to worry about in this world, the wife added. As the couple drove away from their home in Orange County, the wife took her hands off the steering wheel, flipped off the reporter with both hands, and screamed, F you, F you, F you, one last time. Lord. But here's the thing, right? Like, I don't want to be dismissing the wife at all, but objectively speaking, to the average guy, or to the average person, looking at his wife compared to his underling, the underling is objectively more attractive, right? Meanwhile, McGarry, who was immediately bounced from the 44th precinct to the Transit Bureau over the steamy video, seemed to have also landed in the crosshairs of the rookie's father. She told me, Daddy, I make some mistake, the dad told the Post Monday. I'm very embarrassed about what I did. I embarrassed you and my family. Lord. He said his daughter is frustrated over the ordeal. She cried and cried, the dad continued. She is young. She doesn't know how, but he is married, the lieutenant. He should know better. I am going to sue them. I don't know how the dad is going to sue them. The dad was not damaged, right? Because here's the thing. These are two adults engaging in something that is perfectly legal, but very questionable because you got a weird relationship with power. There's a weird relationship with, them being officers of the law, potentially in an area that's very strict on COVID, them not really abiding by anything from the very strict mandates within their area. So there's all questionable things going on there as well. Now, the video shows McGarry grinning, both hands on his sexy underling's thighs as she twerks on top of his groin. And here's the thing, right? Like, they both were enjoying it, obviously, right? Like, it wasn't even a question. They were both enjoying it, right? They both knew what they were doing. They were both not really holding anything back. So the wild lap dance went down Thursday night before a crowd at Rory Dolan's bar in Yonkers, where the 44th Precinct's holiday party was held. So here's the thing. They were doing this at a basically police officer party, so everyone that they were working with, that they worked with, were in that bar and they still did this. So to me, right, and possibly anyone who ends up stumbling upon this, you have actually a very serious situation. Because again, we talk about finances here, and this is kind of a situation where if they get divorced, he is 100% screwed because they could probably find details basically exposing him for cheating on her. Because if they are that blatant about basically their attraction to each other, right? To do it in front of all their coworkers, you could probably assume that something happened, right? At least once, right? Or at the very least, something very questionable past what happened in that video went down, right? Because they were enjoying it way too much. They were way, way too blatant about it. So a rep for the NYPD would only say it was looking into the incident. The rookie cop cannot be immediately reached. She probably won't be reached by probably anyone. Although who knows, right? This might be a situation where the rookie cop ends up coming out in like a very public way and basically saying like, "Hey, I just created an OnlyFans, sign up to my OnlyFans," and ends up making like $1 million in like 30 days, right? Because that's what's kind of funny about today's time is that if there's an opportunity to make a lot of money and you end up basically getting a lot of publicity as a pretty attractive female, you have the access to potentially millions of dollars recurring due to OnlyFans, right? So I would actually not be surprised if something like that were to actually pop out where she would actually do something like this. It's very unlikely just because of her basically admitting her guilty feelings to her dad. But either way, this is why you have to be very careful with who you marry, right? Because, this guy is married to his wife, right? They probably have kids, and they probably have a really, probably not the greatest financial situation, right? Because a lot of officers tend to not really have good financial situations, right? Just because a lot of stress and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's pretty understandable as to why maybe their finances aren't really all together. But if there's a lot of strain in their relationship and then something like this ends up happening, it's just going to be a bigger strain on top of their financial strain, which is going to end up becoming worse for one of them, mainly the lieutenant, because yeah, the likelihood of him having cheated is extremely high, like extremely high. And even if he didn't cheat on her, the wife could easily find a lawyer and divorce her husband and probably take a lot of money from that situation because of how wronged she was in the public sphere, right? So it could be really bad for the lieutenant. Now, I think the best route is for them to stay together and end up, basically taking care of their kids, all that kind of stuff, right? But if these two people end up really not being attracted to one another anymore, then you probably should cut the ties, right? You should probably cut the cord or the chains that are like keeping you two together because even though divorce could be horrendous financially, sometimes it's better to take that financial hit so that you can live a better quality of life and actually do what you want to do. So that's something to think about too. Not everything is about making the most amount of money or saving the most amount of money, right? If you hate your life because of who you're married to, you got to really think about that because, it just might not be right for you anymore. If you want to learn how to get out of debt, go to 40unbox.com. Feel free to give your thoughts about this situation. This is a pretty nutty situation, to be frank, but I think that the wife should probably just end up divorcing, or she will probably end up divorcing. And yeah, the lieutenant is basically screwed in so many ways.